All right, parents, listen up. The winter weather has caused some school delays and some closures. We're going to give you that full list, but first,
we want to make sure you're all safe. This morning, we're sharing a list of warming centers, too, that's available in your neighborhood. Your Chris 6 Sunrise starts now.
Hey, good Monday and chilly morning to y'all. You're watching Chris 6 Sunrise, waking up with the Hoffmans today. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. Folks, we hope you all had a wonderful weekend. But you know who didn't have a weekend, really? Meteorologist Stephen Jones has been working since yesterday, and he's back with us this morning, checking in on that forecast and your roadways. Good morning, Stephen.
Morning.
We hope you got enough sleep.
Yeah. Well, good morning, you guys. Had to make sure I got enough sleep, had the coffee this morning, so we're up and running for our Monday, getting it slowly out the door, but because those temperatures are in the 20s out there, we've got feels like temperatures as low as 11 degrees here in Corpus Christi, so if you don't have to be outside this Monday morning, try to stay indoors, drink that hot coffee, the hot chocolate. Taking a look at SPID, though, you can see a few morning commuters are out there on the roadways. Just want to be taking it extra slow in case you run into any of those slick spots, but temperatures out the door across the board are into the 20s for us. Feels like temperatures into the teens out there, feeling like 20 degrees in Cotulla is our warmest feels like temperature, because as you work your way closer to the coast, we've got a little bit stronger wind here into Corpus Christi and towards Rockport. For today's planner, though, we're going to push into those 30s towards the 11 a.m. hour, topping out into the mid 40s for some of those daytime highs as we head into 3 and 4 p.m. So giving a quick traffic update, looking at those roadways. Right now, plenty of greens on the map, not tracking any of those slowdowns. Looking at the major roadways here in Corpus Christi, we did have one on Ocean Drive, since has cleared up in our neck of the woods. So giving you also a quick look over towards Flower Bluff, both Flower Bluff Drive and Maldron Road coming in the clear. Just want to make sure you bundle up as you're heading out the door.
Stephen, thank you so much. So because of those temperatures, we have a bunch of school closures and some delays that are happening today. Let's break it all down for you, shall we? Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Kingsville, and Del Mar College, you're all going to have remote classes today.
Coastal Bend College, along with Jim Hogg, Refugio, Driscoll, and Robstown ISDs will be closed.
Kingsville, Ben, Bolt, Blanco, Banquete, San Gertrudis, and Bishop ISDs, you're all going to be closed today.
Agua Dulce, Ostwell, Tivoli ISDs, and Jubilee Kingsville Academy, Taft, and Woodsboro ISDs will also be closed.
Corpus Christi, West Oso, San Diego, Gregory Portland, and Toloso Midway ISDs, you're going to have a 2-hour delayed start.
And Odom, Ed Roy, Fremont, Freer, Flower Bluff, and Cal Allen will also have a 2-hour delayed start.
Aransas Pass, Brooks County, La Gloria, and London will also have 2-hour delayed starts.
And the same goes for Sinton, Rockport, Fulton, and Ingleside districts.
JJAEP, RMA Public Schools and the School of Science and Technology and Incarnate Word Academy will also start school about 2 hours later than normal. And the city of Corpus Christi has opened up some warming centers to help keep all of our neighbors safe. The city will open up 2 overnight centers that will be operating until Tuesday afternoon. Those locations are at the Ben Garza Gym at 1815 Howard Street and the Del Mar College Windward Campus FEMA Dome. That's at 4101 Old Brownsville Road. Residents are reminded that all city libraries and senior centers are also open during regular hours for anyone just needing a warm place.
If any neighbors in Robstown are in need of shelter, the Community Center on Manor is the place to go. This center is open until Tuesday morning. Free rides will be provided by CCRTA.
And Jim Wells County, your warming centers are open as well. They can be found over the Old Church in Fremont. The Alice Public Library also serves as a warming center during the day.
The Human Services Building in Clayburgh County is also serving as a warming shelter. Neighbors in need can head to 1109 East Santa Gertrudis in Kingsville. It will be open until Tuesday at noon.
And if you happen to live in the Rockport-Fulton area, your warming center is located at the Fulton Community Church on North 3rd Street. Real transportation will be available to get neighbors to and from that center.
And folks, we'll continue to update you on any more school, road, or city closures in your neighborhood. For right now, you can head to our website, christv.com. Our extreme weather blog will answer all of your questions.
And our very own meteorologist, Stephen Jones, he's standing by. He's going to continue to provide us with weather updates right here in the Coastal Bend. But hey, in the meantime, check out our Chris 6 Weather Watchers page on Facebook. Scan that QR code you see on your screen. You can upload pictures and video of the weather in your neighborhood. Like I said, just scan that QR code and agree to the rules.
Well, thank you, Brian. And absolutely, if you haven't already, go ahead, head over and join that Coastal Bend Weather Watchers group. A great resource to see some great photos and send in some more of your own if you take some great snapshots of the cloud cover out there or some great sunsets or sunrises. Going into this morning with a live look at our USS Lexington cam, thanks to First Community Bank, it is a cold one. Definitely want to bundle up as you're heading out the door. 25 degrees is what we're experiencing here in Corpus Christi. Feels like temperatures as low as 11 degrees, and that's thanks to that wind, 20 miles an hour out of the north right now. Going to hold on to a pretty gusty wind as we're going through our Monday here in Corpus Christi. Over the past 10 hours, it's been a steady drop from 32 degrees, that freezing mark at 8 p.m. last night, down to about 25 degrees right now over at the International Airport. So we've got that freeze warning in effect through noon today for all of our counties across the coastal bend. Definitely want to protect the 4 Ps and keep remembering this as we go into tonight. Going to expect another freeze on the way. And giving you a look at some of our temperatures, of course, the ones you can only get here on our Chris 6 Neighborhood Weather Network. 27 degrees is what we're reading down on the south side at Pebble Beach Drive. 28 as you work your way over to Garden Court. Either way, too chilly if you ask me. Let's work our way over on towards Lake Corpus Christi. There out at George West, reading 21 degrees as of right now. Looking a little bit over on the other side of Lake Corpus Christi, coming in at that 25 to 26 degree mark. 26 over at Sundance Circle. 25 as you work your way up towards County Road 803. So either way, across the board, we are below that freezing mark in the coastal bend this morning, with feels like temperatures even colder, especially closer to the coast where we're holding on to 15 and 20 miles an hour here in Port Aransas and Corpus Christi. As you work your way inland, 5 to 10 miles an hour, still providing a slight wind chill, but not quite as severe whenever you're seeing those slightly lighter winds for your neck of the woods. For our dog walking forecast today, Pepper here definitely has the right idea over there in San Patricio County, snuggling up by the fire. It's going to be a cold one as we're going into our Monday morning, only passing that freezing mark as we head in towards about 10 a.m. 37 degrees is what we can expect whenever we're heading out for lunch this afternoon, and then heading into the further portions of the afternoon, still going to be very chilly out there. Those feels like temperatures aren't going to be escaping the 30s. They're going to be topping out about 37 degrees for our top feels like temperature. Actual air temperature is probably about 45 degrees for that daytime high here in Corpus Christi, but one more night of that freeze on the way. Feels like temperatures into the teens once again as we're going in towards tomorrow. So another freeze day on the way, but then luckily some more mild temperatures as we're heading in towards the middle of the week. Here's how that shapes up on our 7-day forecast. Overnight lows push towards the 40s luckily, so a little bit more manageable, but still jacket worthy as we're heading through the entire 7-day forecast. This next cold front definitely keeps us below average. Going to see those daytime highs in the 50s as we head into the weekend. Luckily not quite as much precipitation working in with that one. Daytime highs going into the 50s this weekend, and you can expect overnight lows back into those 30s.
Coming up, Texans aren't the only ones impacted by a winter storm. We'll show you what Mother Nature delivered to other states when we come back. Hey, good morning, folks. It is 6:11 this Monday morning, and you are getting a live look from various shots from our Skycam. You know what? It's 27 degrees outside right now, pretty chilly, and we will check in with meteorologist Stephen Jones to see how our day is shaping up. But first, we're going to see what's going on around the country.
Yeah, that's right. The extreme winter weather is being felt all across the United States right now, not just here in Texas. An ice storm created dangerous conditions across parts of South Carolina. It's expecting to move through the Carolinas. The emergency management agencies are preparing for the possibility of widespread power outages as a winter storm brings the threat of snow, ice, and extreme cold to the region. Officials are reminding residents to have a plan in place just in case power or heat is lost. That includes charging devices ahead of time, checking emergency supplies, and knowing how to stay warm safely if outages occur.
A significant snowstorm arrived in Maine on Sunday, and by late Sunday evening, snowfall totals range from 4 to 11 inches across southern and central Maine. Forecasters say a brief lull in the snow is expected this morning, but light snow will return on and off through the afternoon, followed by a final push after sunset Monday evening. An additional 1 to 3 inches could accumulate overnight before the storm system moves out late Monday night.
And residents in Ohio are also experiencing snowstorms of their own. Snow has completely covered the roadways, making it harder to drive, but easier for those kiddos to make the most of it. So experts say that the entire state is covered in snow. Some cities getting up to 13 14 inches of it. Neighbors and work crews all over spent most of Sunday shoveling snow. Fortunately, Ohio's snowstorm has ended, but low wind chills are returning.
And the worst of the winter storm is moving out of parts of Kentucky. But officials say the impact is far from over. Crews are still working to clear roads, and the weekend winter storm dumped several inches of snow on Louisville and surrounding areas. The metro area picked up between 3 and 6 inches of snow, covering roads citywide and slowing traffic in many spots. Temperatures are expected to drop from the teens to as low as 3 below zero over the next couple of days.
Virginia is also on the list of states that got hit by a winter storm over the weekend, with snow covering the roadways and freezing temperatures. The residents were met with hazardous snow conditions. Most of the region actually saw between 4 and 7 inches of snow. Meanwhile, the city of Vienna saw 8 inches of snow. The state was under a winter storm warning until 4 this morning.
Neighbors in Washington, D.C. made the most of a snow day by turning Capitol Hill into their own winter wonderland. Washington received its first major snowstorm of the season on Sunday, and crews worked to clear snow from the U.S. Capitol, the Supreme Court, and other federal buildings. But as crews worked to remove the snow, residents braved the cold temperatures and slick weather conditions to play outside the U.S. Capitol. Some parents did not seem too worried about the snowpocalypse. Rather, they said they were excited and described the experience as beautiful and fun. But what's the weather currently looking like right now in your neighborhood? Let's hand it over to Stephen for another look at your forecast.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Good morning, Coastal Bend. We're taking a live look now at our USS Lexington cam thanks to First Community Bank. You can see the new Harbor Bridge in view, the aquarium there also putting on a good view for our Monday morning. Either way, it is very cold out there. 25 degrees on the board. Winds out of the north at 20 miles an hour, putting those feels-like temperatures as low as 11 degrees for what our bodies are experiencing here in Corpus Christi. If you don't have to step out the door this Monday morning, I'd stay inside if I were you. For what to expect going into through the next few days for this week, though, we're going to be a little bit sunnier today, but those temperatures still only going to be in the 30s and 40s as we're rolling into the afternoon, so still very cold. We get a little warmer the middle of this week with some high pressure working overhead, but we're still going to be below average, only chasing those low to mid 60s. And then another cold front we're tracking already for the end of the week is going to make for another cold weekend as we're heading into this weekend. Luckily, not quite as much precipitation we're going to be worrying about, though. We do still have this extreme cold warning in effect until noon today, because we're going to have those wind chills as low as 9 degrees in some areas of the Coastal Bend. And when we're looking at those feels like temperatures out there right now, we're down to 11 here in Corpus Christi. 13 degrees is what you're waking up to, feeling like there in Kingsville, feeling like 19 degrees in Mathis this morning, and feeling like 16 degrees as you're waking up in Freer. Going through the rest of the day, though, we're going to have more of that sunshine on the board. Like I said, temperatures pushing past that freezing mark as we head into 11 a.m., expecting 34 degrees, chasing 43 as we head in towards 3 p.m., and then topping out around 45 degrees this afternoon, but that's going to be short-lived as we head into tonight. We're going to expect another freeze on the way. Looking at the big weather picture across the Lone Star State, that front is off towards the south now, and the cloud cover making a run for the Gulf for some more of those warmer temperatures. But as we go into today, here's what to expect on that future tracker. The clearing skies as we're heading past sunrise and in towards that 8 to 9 a.m. time frame. Daytime highs topping out around 45 degrees under pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine as we're going into later portions of the afternoon. But those clear skies are going to allow for more cooling as we're going into the overnight hours, and another freeze on the way expected by that 3 to 4 a.m. time frame, already pushing that freezing mark here in Corpus Christi. So luckily not quite as cold going into tonight, but still another freeze on the way. Want to remember to protect those 4Ps. For our upper level pattern, here's that cold trough working in towards the Midwest. As we go through the next few days, going to work off towards the east, and we have some higher pressure working into the area, but here's where we're tracking that next track of low pressure and that cold air going into the Midwest. By that Friday to Saturday time frame, we're going to see another cold front working in with this trough of low pressure that pushes in towards the Lone Star State. That's the one that's going to help keep us cold as we're heading into the weekend. Luckily, right now doesn't look like we'll have another freeze on the board after tonight. Here's how that shapes up on the 7-day forecast, chasing those slightly warmer temperatures by the middle of the week. That next cold front on the board without too much rain in it, but 50s expected as we head into the weekend.
All right, start of the brand new work week. We're going to check in on those gas prices, making sure you get the most bang for your buck when we come back. Welcome back, folks. So each and every week I check in on those gas prices, making sure that you're getting the most for your buck, right? And we're going to be checking in on the cheapest ones here in the Coastal Bend. But first, let's take a look at the averages. According to Gas Buddy, the national average is sitting at $2.85. No change since Monday. Good news there, right? No news is good news. As the Lone Star State, $2.40. That is up by 2 cents since Friday. And here in Corpus Christi, $2.31, down by 2 cents since Friday. Cheapest I was able to find here in Corpus Christi proper, other than Sam's Club, that is $2.18 at the Circle K on Baldwin. Watch out for some price changes during the day on that one, though. As for Portland, friends, the cheapest price I was able to find is $2.27 over the Murphy USA. And then if you're out there on the island, looks like the price is pretty constant, actually, $2.38 at most of the stations out there on the island, except for a couple up there in Port A. Watch out for that. As always, prices do fluctuate during the day, so if you find something cheaper than this, might be worthwhile stopping and filling up while you can, especially if you fill up when it's a little warmer out there. All these prices posted on our website, christv.com, and now that you have that tank filled up, let's make sure you can safely get to work today with a look at your traffic. Take it away, Stephen.
Well, thank you, Brian, and good morning, Coastal Bend. Taking a live look from our USS Lexington Cam, thanks to First Community Bank. Both the Harbor Bridge and the Aquarium putting on a good show for our Monday morning, but you can see a few morning commuters heading out there across the Harbor Bridge, hopefully all bundled up. 27 degrees on the board, but not tracking too much in terms of the slowdowns on the roadways right now. But temperatures, they are very cold compared to what we're used to. 26 degrees in Ingleside, feeling like 13 degrees as you're walking out the door in Rockport, feeling like 11 here in town. So definitely want to bundle up as we're heading out the door and going into this afternoon. Doesn't get too much better, only going to be pushing those mid 40s for daytime highs as we're heading towards 3 to 4 p.m. You're going to hold on to a pretty significant wind chill. We're holding on to about 20 to 25 miles an hour for some of those winds. Traffic flow out there, plenty of greens on the board as of right now. Just a minor slowdown there on Saratoga as you're coming up close to Crosstown Expressway, but other than that, our major roadways coming in clear. Over on Flower Bluff, both Flower Bluff Drive and Walden Road in the clear. Just want to make sure you bundle up as we're heading out this Monday morning. Well, hey there, and happy Monday, Coastal Bend. Getting a live look from our Snoopy Skycam thanks to Matthew CCAC. Starting to see that cloud cover work off just a little bit more. 27 degrees on the board right now, but feels like temperatures, they're pushing as low as 11 degrees. Want to bundle up if you're heading out this Monday morning. We've got a couple commuters out there on the causeway, hopefully taking it cautious just in case there's any slick spots out there. But luckily, most of our roadways coming in the clear. Just those temperatures are very cold, and we've got freeze warnings, extreme cold warnings, and all sorts of chilly weather going on in the Coastal Bend. Definitely below average as we're heading in to finish off our January. Here's a look at that freeze warning in effect for all of the Coastal Bend going through about noon today. Could see temperatures as low as 18 degrees out there. Wind chills potentially as low as about 5 degrees. So either way, a little too cold for our Monday morning. We've also got this extreme cold warning in effect for pretty much all of the Lone Star State going through noon today for our area of the Coastal Bend. Wanting to remember to protect those 4Ps if you haven't already. Hopefully you've got one of the pipes dripping, and just remember that practice as we're going into tonight as well. Hopefully, though, doesn't look quite as bad as what we're experiencing this morning. For our feels like temperatures as you're waking up and heading out the door, 15 degrees closer to the coast there at Port Aransas and over at the Naval Air Station. 17 degrees for you in Robstown, 19 in George West today. Here in Corpus Christi, though, we do have the coolest temperature right now with our strongest winds coming in at 11 degrees for what we're experiencing heading out the door in Corpus Christi. Also want to give you a closer look at some of our actual air temperatures here on the Neighborhood Weather Network from Chris 6. Our south side temperatures coming in at about 27 to 28 degrees there on Wind Willow Drive. 28 degrees also as you work your way over towards Garden Court. And then as we work our way a little bit further north towards Beeville, good morning to you at 24 degrees. Also reading that 24 degree mark over on Hilltop Road with feels like temperatures dropping a little bit more into those teens. For our dog walking forecast going through the morning hours, though, hopefully you have the booties for the pup today. Either way, Pepper definitely has the right idea over there in San Patricio County. Getting up close to the fire today, just trying to stay warm this morning. Not too bad of an idea with those temperatures in the 20s as we're heading through 9 a.m. Luckily, we're back towards that freezing mark as we head towards 10 a.m. and temperatures pushing the upper 30s as we're heading out for lunch this afternoon. So definitely want to keep the jacket with you as we're going through our entire Monday, and keep it handy as we're going through this entire final week of January. Forecast highs chasing the lower 40s closer to the coast, mid 40s here in Corpus Christi, potentially even flirting with 50 degrees as you work inland towards Hebronville and Falfurrias to the south later today, but further north, George West coming in only at that 43 degree mark. Either way across the board, a cold one for us. And when you take into account that wind that we're holding on to here in Corpus Christi, our feels like temperature is not going to escape those 30s, only topping out about 37 to 38 degrees for what we're going to be feeling like by about 4 p.m. And then as we go into the overnight hours, once again falling into those teens for feels like temperatures. So another cold one on the way. Want to remember those cold weather practices and protecting the 4Ps as we're going into tomorrow night. Here's why we're holding on to such a cold feels like temperature. Today we're going to hold on to a wind about 15, 17 miles an hour sustained, but those gusts getting upwards of 25 miles an hour. I know this wind isn't crazy abnormal compared to what we're used to here in Corpus Christi, but when we have these abnormal temperatures, it is going to provide a pretty significant wind chill for us for about 5 to 10 degrees colder than those actual air temperatures. Here's a look at how it shapes up on the future tracker. More of that cloud cover making a run for the Gulf for those warmer temperatures. Our temperatures pushing into the 40s as we head into the afternoon with wall-to-wall sunshine pretty much across the entire coastal bend. Heading into tonight, like I said, another freeze on the way. Those temperatures already getting out towards that freezing mark here in Corpus Christi by about that 2 a.m. hour. The 20s expected for areas towards George West and Beeville in our northern viewing areas, so another cold one on the way. Luckily just not quite as severely cold as what we're experiencing this morning. For our upper level pattern through the next few days, you could see this cold weather trough making its way in right now as we go through the next couple of days. This high pressure works in from the west, but another little jet of that cold weather trough works in by the time we're heading into Friday and Saturday. That's where we're going to be tracking that next cold front. Luckily, doesn't look like it'll have as much precipitation to worry about, so we won't be looking at that freezing rain or the wintry mix for the Lone Star State as much as of right now, at least. But right now, how it shapes up on our 7-day forecast, looking like a dry one for Corpus Christi. Some warmer temperatures into the middle of the week with some of those mid-60s before a cool weekend in the 50s.
Why are these boats in Ingleside Cove leaving neighbors concerned?
They're sinking and they're submerging, then they're going to be unseeable hazards.
I'm Adam Beam, hitting the water to get those answers. I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. When residents of Ingleside on the Bay reached out with concerns about those boats on the water, I set out to get them answers. Here's what I found.
Boats on the water of Ingleside Cove are nothing new, but a certain type of boat has started appearing more and more.
We call them derelict boats. They're sinking and they're submerging, and then they're going to be unseeable hazards.
When longtime Ingleside on the Bay resident Stephen Wilder reached out to Chris 6 News for help, I knew we needed to get an up-close look at those boats for ourselves.
Are those also some of the ones that have just been sitting there, or are those ones?
Most of these have shown up in the last couple months. You know, the big hazard to me is when they sink and nobody does anything, and I run across there in my boat and cause $10,000, $20,000 of damage.
But if the boats are a problem, why aren't they removed? Talking with Wilder, I discovered it's a bit more complicated. I was directed to 4 agencies: the Port of Corpus Christi, the Coast Guard, Texas Parks and Wildlife, and the General Land Office. Of the 4, 2 got back to me. I spoke with Frank McDaniel, a senior response officer with GLO. What I learned is that the process to remove these boats takes time, over a month in some cases. He also told me it's very costly. For reference, a 40-foot sailboat could cost between $25,000 and $30,000 to remove, and the General Land Office doesn't have funds set aside for said removals. They only obtain it through grants and similar means. But as I saw, some of these boats' time above the water may not be for long.
I don't have a problem with anything as long as, but when you're coming and dumping your trash that you don't want to pay rent on or you don't have anything on and dumping it in my backyard, I'm going to have an issue.
While removing the boats may take time, neighbors are encouraged to report any abandoned boats like the one you saw to the General Land Office. Reporting in Ingleside on the Bay, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam, for Chris 6 News.
Well, hey there and happy Monday, Coastal Bend. Taking a live look at our USS Lexington cam thanks to First Community Bank. 25 degrees on the board, north wind at 20 miles an hour. That's putting those feels like temperatures as low as 11 degrees as we're stepping out the door. If you don't have to, definitely try and stay inside, stay warm. It is a cold one this Monday morning. Definitely bundle up though if you do have to head out. Taking a look though, we're starting to clear out in terms of some of that cloud cover. The New Harbor Bridge is in view, putting on a good show for our Monday morning. A few commuters heading out there. Hopefully hopefully taking it slow and hopefully having plenty of that winter weather gear as we're heading into this chilly Monday morning. But heading into later today, we're going to see plenty of sunshine. Those temperatures not going to raise up too much, though, only pushing the 30s and 40s as we head towards those daytime highs. We get a little bit warmer by the middle of the week, but still it's going to be below average. We're only chasing those mid-60s by Thursday before another cold front works in, and that's going to make for another cold weekend as we're heading into February. Luckily though, not going to have as much precipitation along that cold front as it works in. We do still have our extreme cold warning in effect until noon today because we're going to see some of those wind chills dangerously cold out there, as low as 9 degrees for what our bodies experience as we're stepping out the door. Either way, across the board, going to be very cold today. Want to protect those 4Ps, of course, if you haven't already, and remember that cold weather practice as we go into tonight. For our temperatures right now, sitting at 25 degrees here in Corpus Christi, down to 22 as you're waking up in Kingsville this morning, 23 degrees on the board in Freer, and then 24 as you're waking up in Beeville. So either way, across the board, it's pretty cold as we're waking up today, and then we're going to see more sunshine, get us past that freezing mark as we head towards 10 a.m. By that 1 p.m. hour, already chasing 39 degrees, but we're holding on to a pretty decent wind here in Corpus Christi, 18 to 20 miles an hour out of the north. That's going to provide a wind chill, keeping us in the 30s pretty much all day for our feels like temperatures. Those actual air temperatures likely to get into the mid 40s for daytime highs as we're chasing about that 3 to 4 p.m. time frame. Here's how that looks in your neighborhood, chasing the lower 40s along some of the coast towards Rockport and Port Aransas, coming in at 42 degrees, 45 here in Corpus Christi, even flirting with that 50-degree mark to the south in Falfurrias, coming in at about 48 degrees. But either way, you can probably keep the jacket with us as we're heading into our Monday afternoon. Here's how our future tracker's looking for us right now. Those temperatures are going to go down potentially a couple more degrees by the time we're heading in towards the afternoon. Wall-to-wall sunshine for all of us across the coastal bend. Daytime highs back into the 40s thanks to that wall-to-wall sunshine, but the clear skies, it's going to be another factor to it. We're going to cool off even faster going into tonight, but luckily with return flow starting up, a little bit of wind out of the east, that's going to help our temperatures not get quite as cold as we're going into tonight's overnight hours. For our 7-day forecast, here's how that shapes up, chasing the mid-60s into the middle of the week. Remember, we do have one more freezing night on the way, but heading into this weekend, it's pretty cool as well in the 50s.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Parents, listen up. The winter weather has caused some school delays and closures. We're going to give you a full list in just a bit.
And we want to make sure you're all safe. This morning, we're also sharing a list of warming centers available in your neighborhood. Your 20 minutes of nonstop news starts now.
Now, 20 minutes of nonstop news, sponsored by Ewald Kubota.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of nonstop news with the Hoffmans. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. Folks, we know a lot of people are encouraged to stay indoors, especially because it's cold outside, but we're here for you to get you started. Let's check in with meteorologist Stephen Jones to see how our forecasts and roadways are looking. Hey, good morning, Stephen.
Morning.
Well, good morning, you guys. You have it absolutely right. It is downright cold outside. Temperatures in the 20s, feels like as low as 11 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Not what we're used to, even as we're heading into the back end of January. But here's a live look from our SPID Skycam. Nonetheless, have some morning commuters heading out the door. If you have to head to work today, head to school, make sure to bundle up as we're heading out there. Those winds definitely providing a wind chill factor as we're heading into our Monday morning. You're waking up to feeling like 14 degrees there in Port Aransas. Actual temperature about 27 degrees. So we're seeing a decent 10 to 15 degree wind chill factor in effect, especially closer to the coast. Gets a little bit better as you work your way inland. 19 degrees is what you're feeling like in George West, 13 degrees feeling like in Beeville. The warmest feels like temperature out there right now, 20 degrees in Cotulla. So nonetheless, want to bundle up as we're heading out the door and keep that jacket handy heading into the afternoon. We're going to have plenty of sunshine, but temperatures, they're not escaping the 40s, and feels like temperatures aren't even going to escape the 30s here in Corpus Christi as we're going through our entire Monday. Here's a look at some of those roadways. Plenty of green traffic flow. The main traffic slowdown we're tracking is there on Saratoga coming up towards Crosstown Expressway. Our other major roadways are coming in the clear, but definitely just want to stress that bundling up factor as we're heading out this Monday morning.
Thanks so much, Stephen. Appreciate it. We're going to check back in with you in just a bit, sir. But first, we've got plenty of neighborhood news to get to this morning.
Yeah, that's right. We begin with some news out of Kingsville. Clayburgh County Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, Brandon Barrera, was arrested on Saturday. Barrera was taken into custody after causing a disturbance at a Walmart. During a search, officers found a small baggie filled with a controlled substance, and Barrera was taken to the Clayburgh County Jail, where he's been booked. He's been charged with possession of a controlled substance, simple assault, and possession drug paraphernalia. And a Corpus Christi police officer remains in critical condition after an officer-involved shooting. Saturday afternoon, police were investigating a homicide on Air Street. A short time later, police stopped the suspect on Agnes Street. They ended up in a gunfight and 2 officers were shot. One of them was a female officer who was hit in the head. A third officer was hit by shrapnel. Police shot the 38-year-old suspect and they were taken to the hospital, and officers involved are on paid leave pending an investigation.
So we have a bunch of school closures and delays happening today. Parents, listen up. Let's break it all down for you. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Kingsville, and Del Mar College will all have remote classes tomorrow, or today rather.
Yes, Coastal Bend College along with Jim Hogg, Refugio, Driscoll, and Robstown ISDs will be closed.
Kingsville, Ben Bolt, Blanco, Banquete, Santa Gertrudis, and Bishop ISDs, you're all going to be closed today.
Agua Dulce, Oswell, Tivoli ISDs, and Jubilee, Kingsville, Academy, Taft, and Woodsboro ISDs will also be closed.
And Corpus Christi, West Oso, San Diego, Gregory Portland, and Toloso Midway ISDs, you're going to have a 2-hour delayed start. The full list will be shared with you during our 6 things you need to know in just a bit. Well, hey, the city of Corpus Christi has opened up some warming centers to help keep neighbors safe. The city is going to have 2 of the overnight centers opened, operating until Tuesday afternoon. Those locations are at the Ben Garza Gym at 1815 Howard Street and the Del Mar College Windward Campus FEMA Dome. That's at 4101 Old Brownsville Road. Residents are reminded that all city libraries and senior centers are also open during regular hours for anyone needing a warm place.
And if any neighbors in Robstown are in need of shelter, the Community Center on Manor is the place to be. This center is open until Tuesday morning, and free rides will be provided by CCRTA.
And Jim Wells County, you have a warming center of your own. Those can be found over at the Old Church on Fremont. The Alice Public Library also serving as a warming center during the day. The full list of warming centers does not end here, though, folks. We'll have that for you in our 6 things you need to know before you go.
As the cold continues to settle in, we're tracking power outages too this morning. So I checked AEP's website and it's reporting 83 customer outages in Nueces County. But crews were dealing with more than 1,000 last night in one particular neighborhood, the city's south side. AEP said the outage was equipment related and crews worked around the clock all night to restore the power. It was fixed at 2 this morning. The company says it will continue to respond to the winter storm and monitor the area.
Local, state, and federal agencies fear that this winter storm could cause sea turtles to become cold stunned. Experts told Neighbor News reporter Drew Bishop that these sea turtles haven't had thermal cues to leave our bays, which means that more turtles could be cold stunned than ever before. And Drew spoke with the president of the Texas State Aquarium, Jesse Gilbert, about what you could do if you happen to see a cold stunned sea turtle.
So call 1-866-TURTLE-5. There's a prompt on there that will figure out where you're at geographically, and then that'll ring into the right rehabilitation center. We ask the public not to touch them necessarily. Touching wildlife is just not always the best thing to do.
And experts say the Laguna Madre's water temperature could cross that threshold for cold stunning by tomorrow morning, or this morning, I should say, and continue on to Tuesday afternoon.
Well, hey there and happy Monday, Coastal Bend. I'm meteorologist Stephen Jones. Getting a live look from our USS Lexington Cam thanks to First Community Bank. Starting to see some more of that cloud cover work out, but either way, the aquarium, the new Harbor Bridge in view, putting on a good show for our Monday morning. Want to bundle up if you're heading out there, though. 25 degrees, our actual air temperature. Winds out of the north blowing in over 20 miles an hour, making it feel like 11 degrees as we're stepping out the door here in Corpus Christi. So very cold air is definitely here today. And as we look at what to expect for the rest of the week, well, we're going to be sunnier as we go into the rest of today. Almost wall-to-wall sunshine. Temperatures only going to be getting into the 40s, though, for some of those daytime highs. Luckily, the next couple of days push up a little higher each day. The 50s tomorrow, the 60s by the middle of the week. But then a cold front to end out our week is going to make way for another cool weekend in store. Luckily, that one doesn't look like quite as much precipitation to worry about with it, though. And nonetheless, as we go into our morning hours, we are holding on to this freeze warning for all of our neighborhoods in the Coastal Bend. This is going to be in effect through noon today, but we are expecting another freeze as we head into tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say. So want to remember that cold weather practice, protect the 4 Ps as we go into tonight also. For our feels like temperatures out there this morning, 13 degrees in Rockport, also feeling like 13 degrees in Beeville, not 20 as you work your way to the northwest and in Cotulla. Here in Corpus Christi, coming in the coldest at 11 for our temperature out there for the feels like, and that's attributed to this wind. We've got about the strongest winds across the coastal bend at 20 miles an hour right now. Also 20 miles an hour there in Port Aransas, holding on to those stronger winds along the coast as you work your way inland closer to that 5 to 10 mile an hour mark for San Diego, Orange Grove, and up towards George West this morning. So not as severe of a wind chill, but either way, very cold out there below that freezing mark. As we go through the rest of the day, going to hold on to some of those strong wind gusts into the afternoon, about 25 miles an hour. That's what's going to help keep our feels like temperatures as low as those 30s going into the afternoon highs. Our actual air temperature is going to be pushing 45 degrees. That's going to be feeling like 38 degrees as we're heading out there about 3 to 4 p.m. So want to keep that jacket handy with you as we're going through our entire day. How that handles on the future tracker? Well, the cloud cover is going to continue working towards the south as we go through the few morning hours. Clear skies as we head into our Monday, but temperatures like we talked about only into the 40s by that 4 p.m. hour, but it's going to be brief-lived at that. That freezing mark makes its return as we head in towards that midnight time frame for our northern counties, towards 2 to 3 a.m. here in Corpus Christi with another freeze on the way. Like I said, want to protect those 4Ps once again heading into tonight. And through the upper level pattern, here's that cold air making its way in right now, moves off towards the east before another shot of cold air works in by the time we're heading into Thursday and Friday with the upper level pattern. That's going to send a good cold front our way, but luckily, like I said, not as much precipitation right now, not looking like any of that freezing rain to worry about. Here's how it shapes up on our 7-day forecast. Those mild temperatures into the middle of the week, still below average. We should be 69 degrees for this time of year. That next cold front works in for the weekend. Plenty of sunshine, but only 50s for temperatures.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
So here are more school delays you'll want to know about. Odom Edroy, Fremont, Freer, Flower Bluff, and Cal Allen will all have a 2-hour delayed start today.
Aransas Pass, Brooks County, La Gloria, and London also on a 2-hour delayed start.
And the same goes for Sinton, Rockport, Fulton, and Ingleside districts.
JJAEP, as well as RMA Public Schools, a School of Science and Technology, and the Incarnate Word Academy also going to be starting up about 2 hours later than normal.
The Human Services Building in Claiborne County is serving as a warming shelter, so neighbors in need can head to 1109 East Santa Gertrudis in Kingsville. It will be open until Tuesday at noon.
And if you live in the Rockport Fulton area, your warming center is located at the Fulton Community Church on North 3rd Street. Real transportation will be available to get neighbors to and from that center.
The Minnesota National Guard was activated in Minneapolis Saturday after the deadly shooting of Alex Preddy. He died at the hands of Border Patrol agents. On Sunday, Governor Walz called for the removal of ICE agents from his state while highlighting the rising death toll. The city said Guard members will wear neon-reflected vests to, quote, distinguish them from other agencies in similar uniforms and will remain in close proximity. Now they'll be in close proximity to local police. The death of Preddy marks the second death in Minneapolis in less than 3 weeks, prompting widespread protests.
A federal judge in Minnesota is actually ordering the Trump administration to preserve evidence related to Saturday's fatal shooting of Alex Preddy. It comes after Minnesota state officials filed a lawsuit against DHS officials and other agencies, alleging evidence was being taken from the scene of the shooting. State signed a temporary restraining order that would prohibit federal officials from destroying evidence. A hearing is scheduled on the matter for today in Minnesota federal court.
The IRS is now accepting 2025 tax filings, and experts say it's a smart idea to file earlier than normal this year for a few reasons, like the changes to the tax code under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The IRS will no longer be issuing paper checks for refunds. Some of the other changes are around taxes on tips, interest paid on car loans, higher standard deductions, and higher child tax credit, among other things. The last day to file your taxes and pay what you owe without an extension is April 15th.
So exposure to extreme cold can, of course, be dangerous, even deadly for those highest at risk, including the elderly, young children, and those without a warm home. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to stay safe in this extreme weather.
As the temperatures drop, the danger rises. In 2023, more than 1,000 people died in the U.S. due to excessive cold or hypothermia, with the highest percentage of deaths happening in January.
Your body becomes so cold, a lot of your bodily functions just can't function the way that they're meant to.
Dr. Carl Allenby with Cleveland Clinic says if you have to go out in extreme cold, dress properly. That includes a scarf or mask that covers the face and mouth, gloves, water-resistant boots, a hat, water-resistant coat, and several layers of loose-fitting clothing. Body parts most affected by frostbite are the nose, ears, toes, cheeks, chin, and fingers.
As the coldness progresses and the frostbite increases, you could have things like numbness. Your extremities could get very pale and then can get hardened as well as you continue to progress through that.
When the body loses heat faster than it can produce it, hypothermia can happen. That's when there's a life-threatening drop in body temperature below 95 degrees. In adults, symptoms include shivering, exhaustion, confusion, fumbling hands, memory loss, slurred speech, and drowsiness. In babies, signs could be bright red cold skin or very low energy. Allenby says 911 should be called immediately.
You're going to rely on bystanders who realize that somebody may not be acting right or that there's some sort of change in their mentation.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Several airlines are allowing passengers to rebook or cancel their flights because of the weekend's winter storm. Now, this is something we told you about last Friday. So far, 11,000 flights have been canceled. United, Delta, American, and Southwest have all released travel advisories offering additional options for customers. And folks, will continue to update you on any more school, road, or city closures in your neighborhood. For right now, you could head to our website, christv.com, and our extreme weather blog will answer all your questions.
And our very own meteorologist, Stephen Jones, he's continuing to follow all of this and provide weather updates right here. But in the meantime, you can always check out our Chris 6 Weather Watchers page on Facebook. See what your neighbors are seeing. You can upload your own pictures and video of the weather in your neighborhood. If you'd like to join, just scan that QR code you see right there on your screen and agree to the terms and conditions. It's actually a really cool site too, because I love seeing not only weather from each and every neighborhood, but I love how creative some of the photographers are out there in the coastal bend. Gorgeous shots.
No, there's some absolutely fantastic photos in there. The sunrises and sunsets, it gets hard to pick some of those photos whenever we want to showcase one because there's just so many good ones. So if you're not already in it, definitely want to recommend going into getting it. But as we go into our Monday morning, the weather, it is feeling like a January morning across the coastal bend. We are well below average. We're supposed to be in those 30s for overnight lows. We're in the 20s for sure this morning. 24 degrees is what we're looking at right now as we take a live look from our USS Lexington cam, thanks to First Community Bank, of course. But those winds blowing in about 16 miles an hour, yeah, that is providing a wind chill factor also to take into account. Wind chills as low as 11 here in Corpus Christi. Don't want to be outside if you don't have to this Monday morning. You can see the aquarium and the New Harbor Bridge both in view as we start to lose a little bit of cloud cover overhead. Going into this afternoon, we're going to expect that wall-to-wall sunshine here in Corpus Christi. Although over the past 10 hours, we've held on to a little bit of cloud cover. We were flirting with that 32-degree mark, the freezing line at about 8 p.m. last night, and we've steadily dropped in those temperatures pretty slowly, down to about 24 degrees, and we'll see if we have another degree or two in us. If we do, we could be challenging that record low. For feels like temperatures either way, we do have that wind closer to the coast a little bit stronger, providing a stronger wind chill factor to take into account. We're feeling like 11 degrees here in Corpus Christi, waking up to 12 there in Rockport, feeling like 14 in Beeville, and our warmest one looking like Cotulla off to the northwest, who's often our coldest one, coming in at a chilly 20 degrees to start off our Monday morning. So definitely, if you haven't already, protect the 4 Ps right now and remember that cold weather practice as we go into tonight. The current winds out there, it's a little lighter as you work your way inland, and that's why that feels like temperature isn't quite as low. Right now around 5 to 10 miles an hour there, closer to 15 to 20 miles an hour here in Corpus Christi and closer to the coast. For our dog walking forecast to kick off the week, we've got Pepper here over in San Patricio County. She's definitely got the right idea as we're heading into our Monday, bundling up by the fire, getting close to it, staying warm because those temperatures not looking too friendly for the dog walk, but if you do, definitely bring the booties along and the jackets. Getting to that freezing mark again by 10 a.m., 37 degrees on the board finally as we're heading out for lunch later this afternoon. So very cold temperatures in store with daytime highs only expected to get really in towards those mid-40s. Feels like temperatures though, when you take into account our wind, not even going to escape the 30s as we're going into the afternoon. 33 degrees is what it'll feel like as you're stepping out around 2 p.m., 37 by that 4 p.m. hour with another freeze on the way tonight and some stronger winds. That's going to make those feels like temperatures once again drop into the teens as we're heading towards about 4 to 6 a.m. tomorrow. But luckily not quite as severe as what we're seeing this morning out there. For our future tracker and how that shapes up, we're going to see this cloud cover working off towards the south, making a run for the Gulf and those warmer temperatures. We're going to see some warmer temperatures relatively, at least as we go into this afternoon, getting into those mid 40s. Some of the lower 40s still off towards the north and closer to the coast and flirting with 50 degrees to the south there in Falfurrias. But either way, nonetheless, by tonight, we're going to get back down towards that freezing mark. The upper 20s expected by the midnight hour there in Beeville, getting towards that freezing mark here in Corpus Christi by about 2 to 3 a.m. So remember the cold weather practice and protect the 4Ps once again going into tonight. Through that upper level pattern through the next few days, we warm back up, but another shot of cold air. You can see the blues here working in by that Thursday to Friday, that next trough of low pressure, and a good cold front working into the area provides another cool down as we head into the weekend. Luckily, not going to have as much precipitation with that cold front as it works in, but either way, it is going to make for another cold weekend into the 50s, overnight lows in those 30s. So still want to remember to protect the 4Ps nonetheless if we do get back to freezing.
Exactly. And you know what, Stephen? We also got a text from Sergeant Mallory with DPS. He wants to remind everybody who are out on the roadways, be aware for those buses because of the 2-hour school delays, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
watch out for the kids going to school, too.
Stay warm, folks. We'll see you soon.